Welcome back to the Other Rough podcast. My name is Nate. Joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, I know the answer to this, but how are we doing today?
Nate, it was tough waking up this morning. It was tough making the content this week. It was tough writing the articles. Um, Ludwig, I mean, I'll go round by round. Round one, kept himself in contention. Great. Obviously, Friday is when he went absolutely nuclear, 500 through four. Prime position to win, had a two-stroke lead. Saturday improved by one spot. He bogeyed 18, which was pretty brutal. But I loved his post-round presser where he was just like, I came in with a two-stroke lead. I left with a three-stroke lead. I slept on the lead last night. I'm ready to take the challenge tomorrow. Was super excited, and then holy crap, did he just punt the he I have to try to keep it clean, Nate. I let some curse words out in our before we started recording, but this guy had one of the worst shots I've ever seen on the par five, dead center of the water. And then the following hole just like duck hooked it, and it was miserable. I knew from the beginning when he did not start off hot that it was going to be just kind of hang on and survive. And in these tournaments, we've seen on the PGA Tour this season that hang on and survive has not worked for anyone.
No.
You have to keep your foot on the metal or foot down on the pedal to the metal. We've seen there's a Twitter post of Lowry and Berger holding their hands from the clouds, looking at Aberg to come with them because he followed suit. He had a three-stroke lead. He ended up losing by like three or four strokes. It was absolutely miserable. But Nate, I'll let you take the other part of this away because you were on Fitzpatrick, who played some phenomenal golf on Sunday.
Yeah, it's not usually a situation where we're both on here talking about what ifs or what happened on a final round, and that's what we have this week. As you mentioned, I had Matt Fitzpatrick 50-1, and once Aberg started falling out, and Fitzpatrick went kind of pretty stellar there in the middle round of that 18 or the final round, and got himself one stroke lead with two holes to play with Cam Young chasing, and I felt pretty good, right? Out of nowhere, a 50-1, just sitting pretty. I'm like, yo, all we got to do is par out and get out of here, and we have ourselves our first, outright of the season. And sure enough, Matt Fitzpatrick finds a center of 17 and basically tells Cam Young, if you want it, come and get it. And boy, did Cam Young come and get it. He put a masterclass on the final two holes. That approach on 17, that putt was not easy either. I mean, he left a short
Oh,
putt, but it wasn't a straight putt in the slightest. Hits that, they tie into 18. Then Cam Young puts on a driving clinic. I don't know if I've seen a better drive in the history of the sport than what happened on 18 this past Sunday. The perfect placement, the longest drive on 18 in the shot link era happened right there. Dead center of the fairway, the perfect, little hook placement. And then Matt Fitzpatrick goes and finds the pine needles. And then I start having flashbacks, right? 2024, I believe, Xander Schauffele I had, and I think he had a one stroke leader. He was tied with Scotty Scheffler in the final hole. He finds the pine needles. Scotty Scheffler finds the fairway and goes on to win that tournament. And sure enough, the same thing happened. And it wasn't like Matt Fitzpatrick threw this tournament away in the slightest. He played a great round of golf. He had a great tournament. Cam Young just took it from him. That's all you can say about what happened there. I can't be mad at Matt Fitzpatrick. I mean, I found myself in a situation where I had no belief I would be there with Oberg going to the final round. So only that, and then Cam Young just absolutely won that tournament. There's no other way to put around it. So I can't be too upset about that. We did find ourselves a winner finally in Bryson DeChambeau at Live Golf, and another punting situation where I went to bed. I think Joakim Neiman was up two or three, and if you follow Live, Joakim Neiman's kind of like your Scotty Scheffler. If he's in the lead, doesn't really lose those, especially the last two seasons. And he punted that one away. Bryson went to a playoff, found the water in the playoff, but Richard T. Lee, I think is his name, missed about a 2 or 3 footer, lipped it
yeah, it
right
was pretty
out,
bad.
and Bryson won that one. Had a first round leader though to the books. I know it was chopped 5 ways, but there's still profit, and I haven't had profit this entire season, so that's always positive there. But man, what a Sunday! I mean, betting aside, it was a fantastic event from the start to the finish. Like even with the betting aspect, sweating first round leaders with 5 guys there, and then you go on to Oberg put on a master class in the middle rounds, and you come into a final round where Cam Young, and we've been waiting for Cam Young for years to do this, and he finally did it. This is his big boy victory. This is his, hey, I know I have the victory at Wyndham that I got, the monkey off my back. but I'm here. I'm here to hang with the big dogs. And sure enough, as Jake mentioned before this podcast, he's gonna be pretty popular in all these majors this entire season.
Yep.
Well, like you said, it's tough. Those Mondays are definitely difficult where you had something in your grasp. And again, my wife is definitely the person that's always like, all right, cash out, cash out, cash out. And I'm always like, no, the value's not there. The value's not there. And of course, she told me to cash out on Matt Fitzpatrick. I didn't. And then she has reminded me about 12 times. But, that's not what we do here. We ride those things out. So it is what it is. Hindsight's 2020. And we move forward and we have our content for the week for the Valspar Championship and the Hainan Classic for you on the DP World Tour. But before we do hop into thing, Jake, we can find you on social media.
Yep, you can find me on X at JakeOOTR, where I post all my outright betting cards. Make sure you give me a follow. You could also join the Out of the Rough Discord, which is completely free with no hidden paywalls. We're up to 275 members, ranging from diehard golf fans to professional gamblers, all sharing insights that make it an awesome resource every single week. Nate runs our community wager tracker in the Discord, where he compiles everyone's picks into one clean list. It's great for seeing who the community is backing and celebrate winners. So at mine and Nate's expense, a quick shout out to Biggie Smalls, Pardo1, Sea Dog 74, and Mav Hightower on hitting Cam Young last week at the Players. Anyway, Nate and I also share some exclusive content in the Discord, including my tournament and round matchups, which have single-handedly kept me afloat. And Nate's first round leader bets, which he mentioned he chopped 5 ways last week. So a little bit of a heater coming into this week here. If you want the link to join, please feel free to reach out to either of us. Don't forget to check out ootrough.com, where we post our weekly articles. Andrew covers the Hotel Planet Tour and Corn Ferry Tour. Nate covers all the tours: PGA, DP World Tour, Live, and LPGA. And I cover the PGA Tour exclusively with some DFS content as well. You'll also be able to find Nate's strokes gained putting by grass type on there, another completely free resource to have at your fingertips. So be sure to check out the website.
Yeah, also on that Discord, we have a designated NASCAR channel ran by Cody, and he is also on a heater. So if you're sick of losing money following us on golf, check out Cody on NASCAR. Just had a monster week. I think he returned like 14 units or something last week on NASCAR. Had an absolute heater there. So be sure to check that out as well. You can find myself, Nate, on Twitter at Nate OOTR. Be sure to follow Out of the Rough and all up on social media. Give us a search on there. You'll find us. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us out immensely. Anywhere listen to your podcast, you can subscribe. Please do so. And yeah, that should do it. We also have the Out of the Rough newsletter. Comes out every week. We compile everything we have to offer, all of our content, links to everything in one easy and convenient location. Also on the website, ootrough.com, you can find the Out of the Rough One and Done, which is a weekly game for the PGA Tour, DP World Tour. Pick a different golfer each week. Prize money is scoring. Just a fun way to follow along the PGA Tour and DP World Tour season. There's prizes in the line, but it's free to play, so why not hop into that? All right, let's move forward here. We'll see if we can't find ourselves a winner this week, Jake, and we move on to the Valspar Championship. So this is the final week of the unofficial Florida swing, a month-long stay in Florida here. We have had the Cognizant, we've had the Arnold Palmer, the Players, and now the Valspar Championship. We head to the Texas for 2 weeks after this week before the Masters, so we're only 3 weeks away from the Masters if you're looking for some motivation to keep yourself going. But we take a trip to the Inglesbrook Resort Copperhead Course in Palm Harbor, Florida, which is a hop, skip, and jump away from the TPC Sawgrass, Ponte Verde, Florida, and the Players Championship. This used to be an event that was played annually before the now discontinued WGC Dell Technologies match play, so it was oftentimes skipped because of that. But with that discontinuation of that event and being so close in proximity to the Players, we see some pretty talented and full fields at this event the last few seasons. This week, Robert McIntyre, nope, I lied, he withdrew. Xander Schauffele is the highest ranked member of the OWGR, playing this week at 10th. He'll be joined by JJ Spawn, Ben Griffin, Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, and Akshay Bhatia of those in the top 20. Of course, Hovland comes in the defending champion. He topped Justin Thomas by a stroke a season ago. Some other former champions, you have that Peter Malnati in 2024, Taylor Moore in 23, Adam Scott in 17, Jordan Spieth in 15, Kevin Streelman in 13, and Gary Woodland in 2011. So the Copperhead course is yet another demanding course from tee to green that will test the field in every single approach, or shot, excuse me. The course is often deemed a hidden gem of the Florida swing that is oftentimes shadowed by the likes of Bay Hill and the TPC Sawgrass. Par 71, 7,340 yards. A total ball striking and short game is needed to compete here this week, and the greens are a pure Bermuda. So if you're looking for that strokes game putting per grass type Bermuda, check out ootrough.com. You'll find it for free there. The course features a multitude of tight dog legs that will force layups. The players to lay up off the tee. The fairways are also tree lined. Players will be forced to work the ball in both directions at Copperhead. It's a shot maker's course with significant elevation changes. This allows for both bombers and plotters off the tee to have success alike. In all, it is one of the most challenging courses on the tour to gain strokes off the tee. This is due to the narrow fairways that are hard to hold. Those who choose a layup with less than driver two will find it difficult to hit these fairways as well. This course annually yields a below average ranking in both driving accuracy and driving distance. It too features some of the most challenging par threes on the entire PGA Tour. Long irons and Bermuda specialists will see an advantage here. And of course, this course is known for its snake pit, a quote unquote snake pit. It is holes 16, 17, and 18. The demanding 475 yard plus 475 yard plus par 4 16th, known as Moccasin, opens the snake pit. Water runs along the entire right side of the narrow tree lined fairway. The 220 yard par 3 17th, known as Rattler, is next and features a heavily bunker guarded green that is also tree lined. And the 18th is a 484 yard par 4 closing hole, known as Copperhead. Plays uphill, also tree lined, and features treacherous bunkers that flank both the fairways and the greens. So, just as kind of the case is in most of these golf courses in Florida, the event can be won and lost here on this 3-hole stretch. Jake, anything to add about this event and or course field? Anything before we move forward?
Nope, you covered it well.
All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, Jake, I have five golfers, I think, maybe six even, and I think you have less than me. So I'll kick
Yes.
things off here, and I'm going to go to old trusty Nikolai Hojgaard, 35-1. A victory is coming. He's been great to start this season. Of golfers with at least 5 starts through the first 10 events of the PGA Tour season, Scotty Scheffler and Jacob Bridgman are the only ones that have a better average finishing placement than Nikolai Hojgaard. 27th last week of the Players, 24th at API, 6th at the Cognizant, 3rd at the Phoenix Open, 22nd at the Farmers Insurance Open. Currently 7th on tour in bogey avoidance. He's 8th in par 3 average scoring. I mentioned those par 3s are some of the most difficult on the entire PGA Tour, so you need to play some good at golf on par 3s this week. He's 10th in scrambling, 14th in proximate hole for 175 plus, 16th in tee to green, 18th on approach, 52nd in par 5s. He is 56th around the green, 58th in strokes gained putting, Bermuda, 71st ball striking. He's played this event just once prior, missing the cut a season ago, but he is on a heater so far this season. As I mentioned, his average finishing placement is up there with Alexis Scotty Scheffler and Jacob Bridgman, who both have victories on the season. It's coming. I think if maybe I don't know, 35-1 is pushing it right for Nikolai Hojgaard, but I think in this field you still have some top end talent. But once you get to those, past those top few names, it starts to drop off a bit. I feel okay with Nikolai Hojgaard at 35-1.
Yeah, I think the number is really fair on Nikolai, and it's rare, right? We always say, oh, it'll come down to the putter. That's not necessarily the case for him. It's
He's
really
been
going
playing
to come
well.
down to his driving accuracy. Is he going to keep the ball in play enough or put himself in enough positions to be able to use those irons and use that putter that's, he's I would borderline say he's elite in both of those categories. So it'll just come down to if he's going to put himself in position to score, and if he does, I could totally see him winning this event.
Yeah, you'll see there's a trend with my card. I'm taking a gamble on some of these guys, finding some accuracy off the tee, maybe toning off the driver and laying up a bit, and finding, great ball strikers, approach play, and some quality putters. So we'll see what comes of that. But Jake, who's your first guy?
Yeah, I'm leading my card off here with Brooks Koepka. He ranked 22nd in my model, which isn't too good, but it's also not bad. He's the first name I had circled coming into the week. Apparently, DraftKings opened him. I mean, I guess I just name dropped them, but sponsor us, DraftKings. But
Yeah,
they
this is
opened
your
him at
invite now.
41. Yeah, they opened him at 41. I'm kicking myself I didn't get that number. He's already steamed down to 25, I believe, maybe
Yep.
even lower. He's made 4 starts on the PGA Tour this season. He's coming off of very good finishes the last couple of weeks. He had a T9 at the Cognizant, a T13 at the Players Championship. Those were the last 2 weeks. He played his college golf at Florida State University, so he's not unfamiliar with Florida golf and what it takes. And the main reason why I picked him is because what do we know about Brooks Koepka before he joined Live? He would never play in a tournament like this
No.
ever. It was just let me show up at the majors, let me show up at the main events. Let me win those, and I don't give a crap about these smaller field, crappy events. I don't want to be here. He needs to earn his way back into those bigger field events, into those elevated events, and obviously he's going to be invited to the majors, but he wants to win one of these so he could just qualify and be done. And I think his motivation is going to be through the roof. His tee to green has been phenomenal. The putter has let him down immensely, but he started to look rather comfortable with it last week. So I'm very comfortable taking Brooks Koepka where he plays his best golf on challenging golf courses, and this fits the bill immensely in that category. So I think this is a really good chance for Brooks to get that win, and then we won't see him in anything but elevated events until then.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? He was very vocal about that. It wasn't like it was some kind of just like secret that you would look at a schedule and see what Brooks Koepka plays. He was vocal. If he were to tee up something like this, it's because he had to focus on and work on something. He had to work on his irons or something. Well, he wasn't there to win, is what we're getting at. Again, he just wanted to play the majors, the big boys, and he left for live that predated the elevated the signature event statuses events. So we haven't seen him in things like that. But again, it's your guy. You've been on him a bunch, and I think the golf world's ready to see Brooks Koepka win the PGA Tour again.
Yeah.
All right, so my next play here is I'm taking a page out of your book here, Jake. I'm going Sahith Theegala at 40-1. This is where I mentioned taking a gamble on some of these guys who are pretty errant off the tee at times. But yeah, he has had a good start to the season. 32nd last week of the Players, 6th at the API, 22nd at Genesis, 60th at Pebble, 18th at Phoenix, 7th at the Farmers, 8th at the American Express, and 31st at the Sony Open in Hawaii. Currently 11th on tour on par fives, 15th in scrambling, 20th on around the green, 21st in bogey avoidance, 32nd on approach and par threes, 47th tee to green, and 55th stroke game putting Bermuda, 87th on ball striking. 36th here a season ago, and also 7th in 2022. This is another guy who was one of those up and coming stars of the PGA Tour, then kind of took a step back and had a pretty poor season a season ago. So he too is trying to play for playing rights, right? He wants to not have to rely on sponsor exemptions or the Aon swing to qualify for these bigger events. And this is a talent that we want to see in these bigger events, and we know can play in these bigger events. So he too is motivated to come in here to, Inglesbrook and put on a show.
Yeah, Nate, we took two separate approaches here, and this is what the beauty of golf gambling is in the sense that Nate is taking risks on his first two picks for just put yourself in position to score, and I know you have the putter and the irons to do it. I went with the route of you have the off the tee and the approach to get you there, and your short game's just gotta pop. So I will never badmouth Sahith Tagawa. Again, I don't need to repeat myself, but if he puts himself in enough positions to score, he has an elite short game, elite irons, and he is capable of taking down any event he tees up.
Yeah, these guys have been playing well at the Players, the API events too. That maybe not tree lined fairways, but they're fairways where you can't miss them because they're either deep rough or water looming. So he's shown that he can tone it down and play some good golf at these challenging golf courses. And again, 40-1, I thought was very fair for Sahith and the way he's playing.
Yeah, it's a big number on him. Moving on to my next play here, 35-1. I took Corey Connors. He ranked third in
Yep.
my model. It's been a rather slow start to his standards. In six starts on the PGA Tour, he's made the cut in five, and he only has two top 25 finishes. For most people, you're thinking, that's pretty good. Why are you saying it's not good? Corey Connors is like a staple in the top 25 in any tournament he tees it up in because of the game he brings. He hits fairways and he has elite approach. It's the short game that is absolutely miserable for Connors, but he puts himself in position to score birdies and to play well every single time he tees it up. On the PGA Tour this season, 85th in strokes gained total, 50th off the tee, 26th on approach, and then plug your ears for this short game because it is really bad. 130th around the green and 147th with the putter. He's had some really good finishes at this event. He had a T16 in 2018, a T21 in 2021, and a T8 last year in 2025. So he's played some good golf at this venue before. I liked what I saw from him last week. He seemed to be getting back to himself in a sense in the way that he was playing. So I thought 35 was a fair number on what I would consider an elite talent in this field in Corey Connors.
Oh, 100%. And, his game is elite ball striking. I mentioned in that preview that this is a ball strikers and a second shot tournament, and that's exactly what he does. He's going to find those fairways. He's going to give himself chances. It's just if he's going to capitalize on those chances. And so far this season, he has not. And so far in his career, for the most part, he is not. But he is elite when it comes to those irons and ball striking. So you're hoping for that to carry him. Maybe, he's the type of the guy that usually this is what we say, we talk about like Decky or something, is, his irons are so good that the putter may not even be needed in a final round because he puts the ball so close to the hole. You can only hope that he keeps himself in contention long enough for that to happen and that big round pops, or if that big round's number two or three in the tournament, he's able to hold on through a weekend or on a Sunday and get it done. But man, I do love the play, and it's a big number for someone like Corey Connors in this field, as you mentioned. All right, next play for me, I'm going for fellow Canadian Nick Taylor, 45 to 1. And it just seems like Nick Taylor is kind of a regular field event merchant. He just seems to be a type of guy that fits all of these golf courses and plays well when he needs to. Uh, Maybe not this particular event. He hasn't had great success here. Last played in 24, where he placed 64th, 10th in 2024, 70th in 22, missed the cut in both 21 and placed 24th in 2019. Third on tour in bogey avoidance. He doesn't make those big mistakes. What I like about Nick Taylor, he's fifth in scrambling, so he capitalizes and keeps himself, saving par with the best of them. Seventh around the green, same thing with scrambling there. 14th in par threes, love that. 33rd tee to green, 45th proximate hole for 175 plus, 57th on approach. Nothing really jumps off the page here at Nick Taylor, but what he does do the best is avoid those big mistakes. In a golf course like this is the key to success. 42nd last week at the Players. He was 38th at the API, 28th at the 28th at Genesis, 24th at Pebble, 28th at Phoenix, 27th at the American Express, and 13th at Sony Open in Hawaii. But again, a big number for a guy who can just hang with the best of them on any given week.
Yeah, he's just a solid player, and I like the call here in a very challenging event where, look, I don't know if we're done with withdrawals yet, Nate. I think maybe one or two of these
Oh, I'm
top end
sure.
guys might just call it quits before the tournament starts, and that just bleeds these odds down a little bit more. So maybe it's just a sense of urgency here, but I like Nick Taylor just in general. I think that if he's in a position to win, unlike most of these mid-tier to long shots that we have, he could take a tournament by the throat and just win. So I like the call there. Very well-rounded player, and that's what you're looking for on a challenging golf course like this one.
100%.
All right, so moving into, I believe this is a crossover here. I believe my last two are crossovers, but Ryo Hisatsune, I got him at 66 to 1. Where'd you get him at, Nate?
Holy cow, where'd you find him 66? I think I'm having 46 to 1.
I took him and my next guy who we have crossover on Sunday. I
Oh,
missed the
okay.
Brooks number somehow, but I got these two guys. But anyway, we'll talk about that after. He ranked fifth in my model,
Yep.
and he's pulled off a little bit. So I guess like take this as you will. But in seven PGA Tour starts this season, he's made the cut six times and recorded three consecutive top 10 finishes. Um, his results have dipped a bit in recent form, like in the recent term, like I mentioned, but he improved last week at the Players, and I think that this is a really good opportunity in a little bit of a weaker field than what he's teed it up in to, get himself across the finish line. Um, his his good finishes have largely come with the putter. So in both of those appearances, he gains very, very strongly in the field with the putter. So I think that's the end all be all for a guy like Rio. Everything else is just so solid with him. The off the tee, the approach comes down to the short game. On the season, 17th in strokes gained total, 15th off the tee, 22nd on approach, 36th around the green, and then here it is, 110th with the putter. So just find yourself in a groove, Rio, on these Bermuda greens, and I think that he is primed up to get a win, and it's coming very, very soon in a weaker field for him.
Yeah, plus fourth here a season ago, 33rd in 2024, knows his way around this golf course. You talked about it. Again, you played him at 66. I was fine with 46 to 1. He was my first click this week. I had that name circled, and I'm very okay with him at 46 to 1. Especially with a fourth place finish last season here. Everything else will fall in suit. 95th strokes gained putting Bermuda, so top 100 in that stat. Not too bad about that. Everything else will carry. I think this is a big week for Rio. All right, you mentioned we have two more or one more repeat. I'm going to go here with Austin Smotherman, 71. Is this a repeat?
That's the repeat.
All right, this is a repeat. So, my earlier card, I was going with guys who, I knew had the irons and the putting to do things. I'm going the complete opposite here, kind of. The putter is really bad for Austin Smotherman, but what is elite? So, when you think of strokes gained approach and who's leading the tour, you're probably thinking Scotty Scheffler, maybe Colin Morikawa, someone like that. No, it's Austin Smotherman through 10 events in the PGA Tour season. Sits number one in strokes gained approach. Absolutely crazy things. Also, sixth tee to green and sixth in par threes, eighth in ball striking, 20th in accuracy, 31st in bogey avoidance, 41st in proximate hole from 175 plus, 49th in scrambling, blah, blah, blah. Here's the problem: 115 around the green, 166th in stroke game putting. I think it's 171 right now that qualifies. So almost dead last in the putting category there. Yeah, the putter is what's going to hold this guy back. But when you have up irons as good as he does, this is a type of guy. I'm going to say it, Jake. Just has to spike to even, and he has a chance. That's all we're hoping for. 13th of the players withdrew from the API. Second, the Cognizant across his last three starts. Earlier this season, he also placed eighth at the American Express. Last played this event in 23, where he's 36th. He placed 25th here in 2022. This is a perfect storm for the ball striking and iron masterclass of none other than Austin Smotherman.
Yeah, I got him at 84 to 1 on Sunday. It felt like a no-brainer. Like you said, the approach is just phenomenal. Nate, we need to get shirts that just say putt to even.
Yep,
Like
that's that
we
merch
have to.
here. Yep,
Yeah, because
just putt to even.
again, it's all this guy needs to do. But look, he's not a super young guy. He's played a bunch. He's 31 years old. He's won two times in his last 25 starts, and those came on the Corn Ferry Tour where he ultimately graduated and has now had some success on the PGA Tour. So, again, big number on a guy who I mean, the approach is just so freaking good. It's hard
Yeah.
to ignore. You just got to hang your hat on that.
If anything, he'll give us a scare with a top five or top 10, and
Yeah.
won't get across the finish line, but at least we'll have some skin in the game.
Yep.
All right, Jack, I got one final guy I'm going to talk about right quick here. It's Patrick Rogers, 70 to 1. And we've seen a lot of guys get the quote unquote monkey off their back so far this season. Colin Morikawa back in the win column. Cameron Young got the big one here at the Players. And Patrick Rogers has been one of those guys who's been, we've been waiting on him. He's been a premier talent when he came to the PGA Tour, and we've been waiting for a very long time for Patrick Rogers to break through. And now he's sitting at 70 to 1 in his field, but the stats don't tell me that. Comes this week third on tour in par threes, 30th around the green, 49th tee to green, and proximate hole from 175 plus, 62nd on approach, 68th in bogey avoidance, and ball striking, 7th in scrambling, 87th par fives, 129 in driving accuracy. Again, none of those stats jump off the page at you, but outside of the accuracy number, right? But he is above tour average in everything I talked about. He's also quietly has had a great start to the season, making the cut in each of the 8 events he's played so far this season. 11th at the Players, 24th at API, 34th at Genesis, 52nd at Pebble, 60th in Phoenix, 27th at Farmers, 44th American Express, and 3rd in Hawaii. He doesn't have the best course history here. Last play in 24, where he missed the cut, placed 26 and 23, and also missed the cut in both 21 and 19. But again, just a guy that we've waited a long time for. We know the talent is there. We've seen flashes of it over the years. I think this could be a perfect storm for it to finally come together after a great start of the season and the stats to back it up.
Yeah, he kind of feels like Taylor Moore, who's won this event before, like a similar profile to Nate. He's a perfect cap tier card. If he puts himself in
Yep.
positions to score, he has the rest of the game to do it. We took two very different routes. We have two crossovers though, so I'm hoping one of those two crossovers, Nate, please. I mean,
We
Midway was
need it.
just a disaster
Oh
last week.
God, yeah, that didn't have a chance from the get go.
Yeah, maybe this week will be the week here.
All right, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We need one. We need one to keep us
Yeah,
going here.
one through the hoop.
All right, guys, that's it for the Valspar Championship, and the DP World Tour returns after a week off for the Hainan Classic presented by Maestro. I don't know if I said that correctly, but this is the start of the Asian swing of the DP World Tour. This year marks the second play of the Hainan Classic, with last year's installment won by Marco Penge, which I think we were both on that week, Jake. So maybe some a good omen for a crossover here. Uh, Last year's installment being the inaugural event, of course. But although this week's event is the second plane, there are some changes. The Blackstone course at the Mission Hills Resort Haiku played as the sole event, or excuse me, venue a season ago. Course is what I'm looking for. But this year, the Blackstone course will host along with the Vintage course. So a two-course format, Vintage and Blackstone across the first 2 rounds. Then the final 2 rounds we held the Blackstone across the weekend. Golfers, well, we mentioned that already. The field this week, we have a new swing here, kind of reflective of that. We have season winners Dan Bradbury, the Joburg Open, Freddie Shaw of the Babco Energy's Bahrain Championship, and Nacho Elvira, the Dubai Invitational. Headline this week's field, you also have notable golfers such as Andy Sullivan, Callum Hill, Angel Ayora, Wenye Ding, Davis Bryant, Marcus Armitage, Francisco Molinari, Frederick LaCroix, Oliver Lindell, and Nathan Kimsey help headline this week's field. We talked about it. Marco Penge used this event a season ago to claim his maiden and first of 3 victories on the season. He will not be back to defend his title as he's since promoted to the PGA Tour. So we have the Missions Hills Haiku here with the Blackstone course leading things off as the course that we played on 3 rounds this week, which is this Mission Hills complex is the world's second largest golf resort that features ten championship courses. The course is set on top of an ancient lava field known for its volcanic landscape. It is routed through dense jungle and open wetlands with lychee trees throughout. It was designed by Brian Curley and opened in 2011. A par 73 at a staggering 7,808 yards. That is correct. The course was established to challenge the elite players of the tour. Actually, Jake, was this reduced to a par 72?
Um, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I'll fact check you while you go.
I know a few yards were taken off of that number there. I'm not sure if they took one of those par fives, maybe a four to get to a par 72. But either way, last year it played as a par 73 at 7,808 yards. It is one of the country's claims to fame for its ability to seamlessly blend one of the course's claims to fame is its ability to seamlessly blend the course into the natural environment. For example, the bunker seamlessly transitioned to lava rock filled waste areas. The fairways are described as both tumbling and feature dramatic elevation changes. One of the featured holes of this golf course is the par 3 fifth that plays over a lava field to a tiered green surrounded by a waste area. The front nine of this golf course is routed through dense forest as the back nine climbs to higher elevation and offers panoramic views of the property. The back nine also features back-to-back par fives, a rarity across professional golf. The first of which is the par 12 is the 12th hole, which is one of the easier holes in the golf course that is followed by a daunting 681-yard par 5 13th hole. The vintage course pays homage to the golden age of golf course design, plays as a par 72 at roughly 7,380 yards. It too was designed by Brian Curley as he paid tribute to the legendary work of Charles Blair MacDonald and Seth Rayner, also known as Mac Rayner. Due to this, the vintage course features sprawling fairways lined by mature trees along with strategically placed bunkers that guard undulating greens. Much like the aforementioned Blackstone course, the vintage course also has a way of blending into the natural environment. The par 3 12th is the course's signature hole. It is known as quote unquote the island. So it seems just as the name suggests, it features an island green. Jake, anything to add here?
No, you covered it all. And I checked, it is a par 72 still, both courses.
All right. So it was a 73 last year. Now it's a par
Oh yeah,
72.
reduced.
All right. Here we go. We moving on to our players this week. Jake, you have far less than me. I think you have three. So and I think there's a crossover in there somewhere. So I'll allow you to kick things off.
Yep. So my first play here is going to be Nathan Kimsey at 25 to 1. Just playing way too good of golf to ignore for me. I know he doesn't necessarily set up as the ideal golfer for what I had pictured would have success at this course, but over his last couple starts, he has a T25 at the Afro-Asia Mauritius Open, a T9 at the BAPCO Bahrain Championship, a T24 at the Qatar Masters, a T5 at the Magical Kenya Open, a T9 at the Invesco South African Open Championship, and then a T12 at the Joburg Open. That is six straight top 25 finishes on the DP World Tour. Super, super impressive. He's done that by smacking fairways, and the irons have really, really cooperated with Kimsey. I thought 25 was more than fair. I was kind of hoping for higher, but my benchmark was 25. I saw him come in at that, and I was ready to just take it. He ranks 10th in driving accuracy on the season, 7th in greens and regulation, 12th in strokes gained average. Just playing some phenomenal golf, hard to ignore. So he headlines my card this week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He has been playing phenomenal golf so far this season. You littered the or has been littering the top of the leaderboard. Has had a few scares along the way, so can't doubt you there. Even if he doesn't, quote unquote, statistically, please this course. All right, first name off my card here is Grant Forrest, one of my first clicks this week. He is currently 10th on tour in average driving distance, 35th in putting, 37th tee to green, 41st birdie or better, 53rd in scrambling, 54th in sand saves, and 59th in par fives. Last played the Qatar Masters, where he placed 15th. Prior to that, he placed 7th in Bahrain, 41st at Dubai Desert, 20th at Dubai Invitational, missed the cut of the Alfred Dunhill Championship, and 23rd in the Nedbank Golf Challenge. A 23rd here a season ago as well. But this guy plays the type of golf I want at this golf course. He smacks the ball huge distance, and he makes a lot of putts. So that's basically the combination I'm looking for this week.
Yeah, Nate, I like the call. I don't have much to add there. I think it's very solid odds for a guy who fits the mold of success at this golf course here.
for sure. And I think he won a season ago as well, so it's not like he was too far removed from the winner's circle.
Yep, he did win last year. Moving into my next play here, it's Eugenio Chikara at 28 to 1. If you've followed my DP World Tour content over the last couple of years, I would say, even just last year, this guy has been all over my betting card, so it should come as no surprise. He actually teed it up last on the PGA Tour at the Puerto Rico Open, where he finished T21. A lot of these guys struggle when they move to the United States to try to, or really to the PGA Tour, and that level of competition to find success. Obviously, the Puerto Rico Open is the bottom of the barrel there, but I still think a T21 finish is rather solid. Before that, not so great. Two missed cuts in a T41 at the Bapco Bahrain Championship, but had a good stretch before that with a third place finish at the Alfred Dunhill Championship, a 25th at the Afro Asia Mauritius Open, and a 15th at the Dubai Invitational. Played this last year, finished T11, has the game that I'm looking for with the plus distance off the tee, pretty solid everywhere else. The putter's been a little bit of a struggle for Chikara this year, but we've seen that he's able to win on the DP World Tour. So again, I think he's an elite talent at, rather respectable odds. He's 14th in driving distance on the tour this year, 60th in greens and regulation. All the other stats aren't so pretty, but I'm kind of just going on that I think that he's an elite talent and that if he finds himself in a position where he is leading or is fortunate enough to have the opportunities, he's going to take advantage and has the ability to win here.
Yeah, this is a guy we talked about a few times so far this season as a premier talent in this league, and he's going to be on the PGA Tour probably by the time this time next year. He's played Puerto Rico, as you mentioned. But yeah, everything about it, we're talking top tier talent at a good number in this field. There's nothing more to add there. All right, I'm going to roll out here and a guy that doesn't necessarily fill this same thing. Nacho Avira, 50 to 1, former winner so far this season. Popped in my model. Last played at Qatar, where he placed 14th. Prior to that, he placed 7th at the Bahrain Championship. Missed the cut of the Hero Dubai. Won the Dubai Invitational. 46th at the Alfred Dunhill. 30th at the Nedbank Golf Challenge. He did miss the cut at this event a season ago, but he's currently 7th on tour on par fives, 13th in putting, 14th out of the sand, 22nd birdie or better, 29th in both tee to green and scrambling. And of course, the distance right there, 84th average driving distance. So doesn't fit the mold exactly what I want, but my model told me there is value here at 50 to 1 for Nacho. He does everything else extremely well. So I had to take what the model said and go with it.
Yeah, Nate, can't blame you. Solid form, already has a win on the season. I think that, there's a lot of meat on the bone at that number for a guy who has had some success already this year.
For sure.
Uh, Moving into my last play here, Nate, I'm sorry that I have to be the one to start the talk about him, but you are going to clean it up extremely well. It's your guy, Freddie Schott here. I got him at 80. I believe you got him at 125.
125. Yep.
Yeah, huge number, even 80. I think that's dripping
Yep.
down. I'm endorsing that all the way down to 50 personally.
Yep.
This is the golf
Disrespectful.
course for Freddie Schott. Like, this is the perfect place for him. Bombs the ball off the tee, has a rock solid putter. He got the win under his belt. I'm hoping it's like a Cam Young situation where he got the lid to pop off and that, the wins are going to come down the road at courses that fit him well. And this is the perfect spot for him. In his last start, he finished T14 at the Invesco South African Open Championship. So coming in on some good form. Obviously, already mentioned that win at the Bapco Bahrain Championship. On the tour this season, ninth in driving distance, seventh in putts per green in regulation, 11th in average putts per round. Just a phenomenal start to his DP World Tour season. Already a win under his belt, coming to a course that fits him well. I think he's going to be awfully popular, but for good reason. And I think that he has a good chance to get it done again.
Yeah, 125 to 1, there was 0% chance I was leaving on this. The first book I looked at 100 and I was licking my lips at that. And then all of a sudden I find 115 and 125. I'm like, 100%. Freddie Shot it is. Again, I missed out on his first victory there as I played him a bunch last season. Not going to happen again as he comes in here to Hainan Classic and wins this event. 125 to 1, 80 to 1, whatever the number is. I think he's very live to win this event. All right, so I got two guys here I'm going to run through right quick. The first being one of my favorites this week, Mikkel Lindberg, 50 to 1. This is my second of the first clicks this week, if that even makes sense. But he's currently first on tour in average driving distance. He's eighth in birdie or better, 12th in par fives, 26 tee to green, 82nd scrambling, 102nd in putting, and 148th out of the sand. Last played in Kenya, where he placed 29th. Prior to that, 36th at the Qatar Masters, 13th at the Babco Energies Bahrain, 45th at Hero Dubai, 44th in the Mauritius Open, and 14th at the Alfred Dunhill Championship. But again, leads the tour in driving distance, going to smash the ball. The putter's a little less than desired, but he has some good tee to green and some great par fives. He gets birdies in a hurry. He can really pour them in with that super, super plus distance. So I really like Mikhail Lindbergh for that reason. And my final play is Xander Lombard at 100 to 1. A guy that I've bet for many times since I started covering the DP World Tour back in 23. Last played the Joburg Open where he placed 45th. Prior to that, 48th in Kenya. Missed the cut at the Qatar and Bahrain. But prior to that, 26th at the Hero Dubai. 5th at the Afro Asia Bank Marathon Open. 62nd at the Alfred Dunhill Championship. 45th here a season ago. Lombard is currently 16th on tour in par 5s. 25th in birdie or better. 28th in putting. 32nd in scrambling. 66th out of the sand. 72nd in driving distance. And 90th tee to green. But yeah, another great guy that the plus isn't maybe not there, slightly about tour average, but has an elite putter along the way.
Yeah, Nate, I like both those calls. Lindbergh was the first one off my card this week, so I'll have a bit of FOMO just because he mashes the ball. But
Yeah,
two good selections to round out your card there, and hopefully, Nate, a Freddie Shot win, that'd be pretty cool.
that'll help a lot of things.
Yes.
I'm here for it. All right, well, guys, that wraps up this week's content. Next week, we move to Texas for one of the two Texas events. Again, not good at podcasting after doing this for 4 years every single week. To
I think it's
know,
the Valero.
is it the Valero? It is the Houston Open. Yeah. What is it? The Valero Tech? No, it's the
Right.
Houston Open. So the Houston Open Memorial Park next week. The
Okay.
DP World Tour goes somewhere else that isn't in Houston, I'm pretty sure. I think that's a safe bet. Somewhere in Asia, right? Are we in India next week?
It is.
Oh, God. I think it's in India.
Look at us. It is the Hero India Open.
Yep, there we go. Look at that. We got to the bottom of that one way or another. But yeah, we'll be back next week for that. Hopefully with some winners in tow. Jake, we'll be finding you on social media before we hop off here.
Yep, you can follow me on X at JakeOOTR, where I share all my outright betting cards. I'd also encourage you to join the Out of the Rough Discord, 100% free to join with no hidden paywalls. The community includes 275 plus members as an excellent free resource to have at your disposal. Just reach out to Nate or myself, and we will get you the link to join that. Also, Nate, let's get our practice in. Texas Children, Houston's Open. We are going to have to nail that next week, so we're going to have to put in some extra time here.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's one that we're going to stumble over. We're going to probably say it correctly for the first, one or two times of the show, and then it's going to start twisting our tongues up quite a bit. So, yeah, every morning in the mirror, 10 times before you head out the door.
Yep.
Texas Children Houston Open. I think I
Yep.
missed a word in there. Either way, you can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. Be sure to check out ootrough.com for all of our fantasy golf, not fantasy golf, all of our golf content from top to bottom. A lot of content left and right. Check out the Discord. Everything you need to know from the PJ Tour all the way down to the Corn Ferry Hotel Planet Tour. We have you covered on Out of the Rough, so be sure to check all of that out. Until next time, guys, we'll see you.